Hello and welcome to The Olive Tree with me, Julia Fisher. On today's programme, I'm introducing you to a young woman in Jericho. Let's call her Zed. She used to be a Muslim, but today Zed is a Christian. And as you will hear, she is passionate about her faith in Jesus. And in her own words, wants to take 1 million Palestinians with her to heaven. The aim of this series of programmes is to reveal what God is doing in Israel and the Palestinian areas today through the stories of Jewish and Arab believers who live in the region. I met Zed in Jericho, and she told me she was born in a village on the outskirts of Jerusalem. So I asked her to tell me more about her family.
My family is a regular family. My father, he's originally from Bethany. We lived there I lived there up until I was 12. My dad is still living there with my older brother, and we're 9 in my family. 5 brothers, and we're 2 sisters, and my parents.
You are a Muslim family?
Yes, we are a Muslim family, but now we're not.
So the question is, for what happened to change things?
Since I was little, my dad really loved foreigners, and somehow he just loved inviting them to our house and cooking for them, and he was interested in them, and they kind of like became a part of our family. They lived with us, some of them, for so many years, and when I was 12 almost, we had a big dinner party for all of them, and my mom was cooking, and I asked my mom if she can do me French fries because I don't eat any of what she's cooking for all the foreigners. And I was a very strong little Muslim, And as she was cooking the French fries for me, the boiling oil fell on her food, and it was damaged. There was nothing almost left, and they took her to the hospital with an ambulance, and the doctor kept calling us for 3 days. Oh, today is the surgery. Today we're going to remove her leg. We're very sorry. And then one day, a guy from Kenya, he called my mom and he was like, come down from the hospital and let us pray for you. And if something happens, then something happens, and you don't have to go through the surgery. If nothing happens, then we know that it is the only way for you. And she said, okay, I'll come down. And then they all gathered in our house and they started praying for her for hours, and then nothing really happened while they were praying. And then we went all to bed to sleep, and my sister, she woke me up after like an hour and a half, and she said, I just saw Jesus in my dream and he went and healed my mom. And for me, I was shocked. I was like, don't act like your parents now. Jesus will not come and heal your mom. And she was like, he will. Just let's go. Come with me. We went to the room, and they were both fighting because she wanted him to touch her leg, and he was touching he thought that he was touching the wrong leg. And then he got really angry, and then he turned on the light, and as he removed the blanket, there was nothing. It was totally healed, and we didn't see the medicine, we didn't see the bandages. It was as if it was like a big, it was a big miracle. Afterwards, I was totally scared, and I became a stronger Muslim back then, and I started fighting all the foreigners that came and wearing the hijab and the full thing that Muslim wears, and going to the mosque all the time and talking about Islam and Islam only. Up until I was 16, I was in my high school, and my mom asked me if I can go to a Christmas party with her, and I was like, I will come with you, but I will not remove my hijab. If they want me that way, then I will go that way. But if any of them will ask me to remove it or to think about Jesus as God, then I'll just leave the party. And she's like, no, just come. Nobody's going to talk to you about it. We're just going to enjoy and have lunch with them. So I went with her, and as we were there, a friend of my mom, she came to me. She was like, I want you to meet a very special girl. I was like, okay. And then I met the girl came, and she was from Nazareth, and she told me her name, and we started being a friend. I really loved her. I knew she's a Christian, and she started visiting me all the time in the house and talking to me. But we rarely shared about Jesus or Islam. For me, I didn't want somebody talking to me about it. But then one day, after 6 months, I was sitting with her. I was like, I'm wondering, how could my parents be so stupid to leave Islam and just convert to Christians? I mean, it is just stupid. Can't they see the depth and the love in Islam? And she was like, I'm from a Muslim background. And I was like really shocked by it because I kind of like didn't want to hear it. I kicked her out of the house and I started telling everybody that she's bad and don't talk to her. And a week later, I went to do a blood test and I had to do it regularly because I had some problems since I was little with my blood. And the doctor made the test for me, and after like hours, he asked me, is there somebody with you out there? I was like, no, I'm alone. What is it? I was like, I'm very sorry to tell you, but it seems you have a blood cancer and it's A+, and chemotherapy will never do anything for you. It's over. I was like, what do you mean? He's like, you have 6 months to a year to live. Go live it. Live it the way you want to live it. And I was so shocked because I was in my high school, prepared to go to university and live my life. And, I was only 16 years old. Anyways, I went back home crying all the way, walking and thinking about that I'm going to die in 6 months. And what do I want to do in 6 months? And I was just very disappointed with everything, and especially with Allah, because I thought that I was so strong believer that He will not allow such a thing to happen with me. And I kept hearing my angel saying, but God only exams those who are good believers. So I went back home and I was playing with my phone, and I decided to call the girl that I've met in the Christmas party. And I was like, what, I'm not calling you to say I'm sorry for kicking you out, nor gossiping about you, but I'm just calling you to say that the doctor have told me that I have a blood cancer and I might die in 6 months or a year. It's just like, you're very stubborn. And I just want you to do one thing. It is to go to your room and just say, God, if you are Allah, then come and show me yourself by healing me. And I want to see you, and want you to say that you are Allah and that Muhammad is your prophet, and it is the only way for me to reach heaven. And if he comes, then I promise you to be a Muslim again. And then say the same, say, Jesus, if you are God and the healer that healed my mom, then I want you to come, and I want to see you, and I want you to tell me that you are God. So I went and I just did just like she said. And suddenly I fell asleep, and I saw Jesus in a vision, and he came and he had his hand on my heart, and he was like, I am the only way, I am Jesus, and you're totally healed. And when I went to do the test again, the doctor was really stunned, and he was like, there is nothing and there is no answer. How come there is nothing in your blood? And I was like, oh, Jesus healed me. And then I just removed the hijab and went out, and since then I'm with him.
That's an amazing story, and here you are now in Jericho, helping at the House of Prayer here, mixing with Muslim people all the time. Is this your passion? What is your passion today?
My most passion is to see people coming to know Jesus and to know that He is God. And for me, this is one of the reasons why I am in Jericho. It's because I want to share the gospel, and I want people to come to know Him, and especially teenagers, because it is the age that I believe that it is that they need to know what is love the most, in this age, and they want to know that there is somebody meeting their need. And this is what I'm doing in Jericho. I mean, I don't usually talk about it very openly, but I try all the time to put like a one seed when I talk to them. And this is my most passion, is just to see. I want to see 1 million Palestinians coming to Jesus, and I want to see my family coming to Jesus, the rest of my family. And there is nothing else that I really wish to see but that, because I don't want to go to heaven alone. I want to have a full airplanes with me going there. So.
When you share your story, which is a remarkable story, with your friends, with the young people here in Jericho, what is their reaction?
Actually, I never really shared my testimony with them. I usually just mention like I believe in Jesus and He is the healer. I usually put like tips, but not like share it all. Last Thursday I did share it with one of the mothers that her daughter come here all the time, because she was really interested to know, and she had kind of like the passion to hear about it. So I went on and I shared. But whenever somebody questions me, like if it's a matter of me saying I do believe in Him or not, I always say that I believe in Him. And it is a difficult situation to be in, because like any of them can can just come and kill you and say we killed her because she converted to Christian. And so for me, I just, as God just said, I'm trying to be wise, but also not to deny him and to always live for him. And I believe that we can show Jesus if we can talk. He can use us to show himself through us. So, yeah. But whenever like there is an opportunity for me to share and I feel it is safe, then I just share it. In my school, I did share it with all the students because I was on fire. But then they paid it back. I was kicked off school and beaten up, and I didn't get to continue my high school. I didn't have my papers that I have finished my high school. And I think this experience have taught me how to be like more wise so that I won't lose it all. So yeah, but he is worth it, and I'm willing to die for him if that's what he has. I mean, whatever it takes.
You've been listening to Zed, a brave young woman from Jericho telling her remarkable story. And this is The Olive Tree with me, Julia Fisher, the programme that brings you news direct from Jewish and Arab believers living in the Holy Land to find out firsthand what God is doing there. Zed's story demonstrates how dangerous it can be to convert from being a Muslim to being a Christian. It also demonstrates that this is happening in larger and larger numbers. So what should be our response? The Olive Tree Reconciliation Fund is a small charity based in the UK that seeks to prayerfully and financially support believers living in Israel and the Palestinian areas. If you'd like to receive our bi-monthly newsletter or join our next tour to Israel and meet some of the people you hear on this programme, then do get in touch. You'll find more information and articles on our website, www.olivetreefund.org, where you can also leave a donation. Or you can write to me, Julia Fisher, at the Olive Tree Reconciliation Fund, PO Box 850, Horsham, RH12 9GA in the UK. Thank you for your company today. I'll be back at the same time next week with more news and interviews from the Holy Land. Until then, goodbye.